Hello all, hope all are doing good. So now we will see NCERT Solutions Chapter 4, Thinkers, Beliefs and Buildings Cultural Development, Question number 6, Subject History, Class 12, explained by Sandhya M. The question is, to what extent does the knowledge of Buddhist literature help in understanding this culture at Sanchi? So they are asking, if a person is familiar with the Buddhist literature, will it be helpful in understanding the sculptures at Sanchi? So let's see what the answer is. Buddhist literature helps understanding this sculpture at Sanchi in the following ways. So they're telling yes, if a person is familiar with this Buddhist literature, he or she can understand the sculptures. But how? Let's see. A scene at the northern gateway at its first sight seemed to depict a rural scene with thatched huts and trees. However, the historians, after studying the sculpture carefully, identify it as a scene from Vesantara Jataka. It is a story about a generous prince who gave away everything to a Brahmana and went to live in forest with his wife and children. So a scene in Northern Gateway depicts a rural scene which has huts and trees. So when historians studied this sculpture carefully, they found that it is the scene from Vesantara Jataka. And what is this Vesantara Jataka? It tells a story about a generous prince who gave away all his wealth to a Brahmana, and he, along with his wife and children, went and lived in forest. Next point is, the art historians acquire familiarity with biographies of the Buddha in order to understand the Buddhist sculpture. According to Buddha's biographies, Buddha attained enlightenment while meditating under a tree. Many early sculptures showed Buddha presence through symbols such as empty seat, stupa, and the wheel. Such symbols can be understood only with tradition of those who produced these artworks. So the art historians learned a lot about Buddha. They learned the biographies of Buddha to understand these Buddhist sculpture. And in early sculptures, Buddha is presented or Buddha is shown as a symbol by empty seats, stupa, and wheel. But historians were able to find that those empty seats, stupa, and wheel refer to Buddha because they was familiar with the Buddha's biographies. And in Buddha biography, we know and we study that Buddha attained enlightenment while meditating under a tree. Only historians was familiar with this, they were able to find that these symbols of empty seat, stupa, and wheel refer to Buddha. So it is known that as a person was familiar with Buddhist literature, he was able to understand this sculpture well. And also these sculptures can be understood only by the people who produced that specific art. Because the other people were familiar with the Buddha biography, they were able to find the meaning of these sculptures. Next point is, it may be mentioned that one of the earliest modern art historian, James Ferguson, considered Sanchi to be the center of tree and serpent worship because he was not familiar with Buddhist literature, most of which had not yet been translated. He therefore arrived at his conclusion by studying only the images on their own. So on the early case, we saw the art historians was familiar with the Buddha biography and so they was able to find the meaning. But here, modern art historian named James Ferguson considered that Sanchi referred to a tree where serpent worship because he was not familiar with Buddhist literature, and whatever meaning he arrived was he arrived only by seeing those images. So from this we come to know that learning a Buddhist literature will help us in understanding the sculptures at Sanchi. Thank you.